They say, hey, Dad, you're really, really, really smart. Why don't you act a little more presidential?
I think she's growing up.
I think you did a good job.
She's terrific.
Ivanka's great. You love Ivanka? I love Ivanka.
She speaks a lot of languages, but she's got this, and having that is important after the first date.
Melania, she'll be a great first lady. I called up my wife, Melania. I called up Ivanka. I said, I got a problem.
Donald gets things done.
Ivanka just had a baby, by the way. I'm very proud of that.
My father and our next president, Donald J. Trump.
That's sort of why I'm doing this.
It's a Trump's life, and it's a special On the Record. You will hear from Melania and Ivanka Trump. Yes, Donald Trump's wife and older daughter. They are the two women who know Trump better than anyone else. But what role does each play in his historic presidential campaign? And what are their plans if they become America's first family? In just moments, you'll go inside Trump Tower, hear from former supermodel Melania Trump, and discover what it's like to live the Trump life. First, we start with Ivanka.
As a young girl growing up, my father always told me that I could do anything that I'd set my mind to. He meant it.
She's a mother, a celebrity, a former runway model, TV star, best-selling author, and business mogul. Ivanka Trump is living the Trump life.
She did a good job. So I should not say, Ivanka, you're fired, right? I promise. I promise.
Born in Manhattan, Ivanka grew up right in the heart of it all, Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. As a teenager, Ivanka started modeling, walking the runway, and gracing the cover of 17 magazine. After graduating from the University of Pennsylvania, she entered the high-stakes world of real estate and launched her own hugely successful lifestyle brand. She starred alongside her father in TV's hit show The Apprentice. At the family company, she's a top executive and has overseen hugely successful deals like Trump Doral in Miami and the Trump Old Post Office Hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Washington has never had a really luxury hotel, so this will be it.
She has a husband and 3 young children at home in New York, and if that's not enough to keep her busy, she's out hitting the trail for her father.
I could not be more proud tonight to present to you and to all of America my father and our next president, Donald J. Trump.
And despite her crazy schedule, On the Record made a visit to the building she lives in the heart of Midtown Manhattan, to talk to Ivanka Trump. Do you read the papers and read the internet and do all that kind of stuff?
Well, at this point, it's actually almost impossible to read everything that's written. So I read the papers always in the sense of keeping up with the news, but I try to read the papers less in terms of their editorializing on my father, the campaign, and sort of all the noise. I think I've experienced an extreme bias in terms of coverage and reporting, so I try to distance myself from that and really try to just stay on top of current events and make it a little less personal for myself and read a little less of what I read a little less from news sources about my family and my father specifically.
You know, I've been around politics for quite a long time, and so I get to meet all the politicians over the years, and I'm always struck by how when I meet them in person, they're often so different how they're portrayed on television. Even Secretary Clinton, you know, I've traveled overseas 8 times when she was Secretary of State, and then I watch things on TV, and you know, it's amazing how different people are in person, and I can't figure out, you know, how to correctly portray people. And so the only thing I think is your father correctly portrayed?
Well, I think he's correctly portrayed in the sense that people know he's very authentic. My father says what he means, and he means what he says, and that's very rare in politics. But he's incorrectly portrayed often by the media. My father is incredibly warm and compassionate and loyal and funny, and anyone who knows him knows that to be true. I think that often is not portrayed. You see the strength, you see the determination, you see the fact that he's tireless in terms of his energy. But I don't think you see that more compassionate side of him, as certainly not in the way mainstream media portrays him. I know that side of him. I'm his daughter. I've seen it my whole life. His employees know that side of him. But I don't think that's portrayed to the American people. But I think that's, one of the amazing things about this election cycle is that my father has the ability to bypass that narrative and go directly to the people with his message, and he's doing that. Whether it's the arenas he's filling or whether it's his use of social media as a way to communicate directly and in an unedited way. And that's been incredibly powerful for him.
Well, I've had private conversation with him, not much of one, but when I've had interviews with him, we've talked for a few minutes after, and I always think he's different in person, just like, it's so different in person than when cameras roll for anybody in this business.
Yeah, so if you speak to anyone who knows him, they adore him and appreciate him and know all the attributes I relayed a minute ago to be true about him. But so I think that's the side you don't see in terms of his public portrayal. I also think that the media is reticent to highlight and showcase his success as an entrepreneur, as an employer, as a business builder. And maybe that's why a lot of people in the private sector don't run for public office. It's easy to tear somebody down or attempt to, but he's created jobs for tens of thousands of people. We have a thriving global company and brand with almost no debt and owns some of the most important and iconic assets anywhere in the world. So, and his career has spanned many decades, and he is today stronger, and our company is stronger than it's ever been. That's a great accomplishment. So I think it's hard for me, being in the business, to see the media not appreciate that fact and focus on circumstances 30 years ago during recessions and highlight those examples and not illustrate the company we have today that was built on his vision, his strength, and his leadership.
Your father's very active personally on social media. Your thoughts about his Twitter? I mean, it's gotten him into some hot water.
Twitter does get him into hot water every once in a while. Not what he writes, but retweets. So I think he said that he's going to do that less frequently, to retweet things that other people write. But
who got him on Twitter? Has he always been on Twitter?
He's been on Twitter for several years now, and I think to see the growth of his Facebook channels and his other social media channels has been amazing. But it's also been a very valuable tool for his campaign, because it allows him to bring his message unfiltered, unedited, directly to the people that he's speaking to. So it's given him a voice that isn't controlled just by the media. It allows him to communicate directly, and I think that's been enormously valuable.
It's been very effective in terms of marketing and getting his word up, but it's also sometimes he's made some blunders. Do you give him hell when he says things that you might think might go a little too far?
He is on the road all the time. He is not shy about talking to the media. He's not afraid. You ask him a question, he'll give you an answer. A lot of people sort of hide behind their campaigns and their organizations and try to avoid putting themselves in positions where they're asked difficult questions. He doesn't do that. So he wants to be honest with the American people. He wants them to know who he is. He wants to communicate freely, and he does that. And he does that on social media, and it's been enormously effective for him. So.
But what about the problems? I mean, you can see that.
That happens. But I think that people recognize that. I think the authenticity of that balances out the times that occasionally it goes awry. In a lot of politicians' campaigns, they don't write their tweets. They're managed by a team of 50 people who are testing and polling every word. That's not him. That's not the leader he wants to be.
And Ivanka isn't the only superstar in the family. Here's Melania Trump.
She's an incredible woman. She's an incredible mother. She loves her son Baron so much, and just really something special.
Take a look at Melania Trump, a former Slovenian model, a mother, a successful businesswoman, and married to presidential candidate Donald Trump.
When you attack him, he will punch back 10 times harder.
In 1996, Melania moved to New York City, an immigrant from Slovenia who speaks 5 languages.
Big smile. Beautiful.
In New York, she launched a modeling career and before long met her future husband, real estate mogul Donald Trump.
We met in New York 1996 in September. We met at the fashion party.
In New York, she launches a successful line on QVC and shows up on the cover of numerous magazines, even Vogue. So what's next on her resume? Well, it could be First Lady.
She will make an unbelievable First Lady.
He's a fighter. And if you elect him to be your president, he will fight for you and for our country.
On the Record got inside access to Melania and Donald's luxury penthouse on the top floor of Trump Tower. So what does Melania Trump think about the campaign life? Is the media fair to your husband?
Not always. Not always.
In what way?
They're not fair to me too.
In what way? In what way?
They saying stuff that they're not true. They don't say the truth. They write stuff that they don't want to give him a credit. They don't want to say how smart he is, what he will do, what he can accomplish. They don't want to give him a credit.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because maybe he's outsider. He's not part of Washington. He speaks his mind. He doesn't sweep under the rug. He says as he thinks and what needs to be said, because he's not the politician. He's not into just talking. He's a doer. He gets the thing done.
You got married down in Florida?
Yes, in Palm Beach, in the church.
And Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and the president was there.
Yes, they were there.
What are your thoughts about that?
Well, now it's different time. That was in 2005. Was different time. We were private citizens. He was not running for the office, as he said. He was friends and got along with many people. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
Have you ever socialized with them besides the wedding with the Clintons?
No.
And you have to see this. Melania Trump takes you on a grand tour of her luxury penthouse in the heart of New York City. Straight ahead. Plus, she's a mother, a successful businesswoman, and she is helping her father on the campaign trail. So what is a day in the life of Ivanka Trump? She will tell you. That's next.
My father is.
She's raising 3 children, holds 2 full-time jobs, and her father is running for president. So just how does Ivanka Trump